Morning. Today we're going to talk a little bit about purpose. Now I post these little short videos for people that need them, and I'm sure the people that watch them are the ones that need them for that day or another day or whatever it may be. Now the Bible tells us that God has a purpose for all of us, whatever it may be. Some of us, our purpose is a career, or maybe being in a medical field, a nurse, a doctor, a therapist, a construction worker. Everyone has a purpose for something. And the Bible also tells us that when one door shuts, another opens. And that God has a purpose for us. Now, some of us have a lot of trouble finding our purpose in life. I know before my SCA, I knew what my purpose was. And that was to build things. I could build houses. I could build just about anything you wanted. And that was my purpose. After my SCA, I had no idea what my purpose was. And it's been 5.5 years and I'm still trying to figure out what my purpose is going forward. Having a purpose in life gives you something to get up for every day. Gives you something to look forward to. And those of us that are survivors and those of us that aren't survivors that are still trying to find that purpose, we have difficulty with that every day. We sometimes go into depression because we don't know what our purpose is. We can't figure it out. So a lot of us after SCA have anoxic and hypoxic brain injuries. Some of us have nerve damage. Some of us shake. There's a lot of different things. A lot of us can't work anymore. There's a lot of things we can't do that we used to do, and it gets frustrating. And when we don't know what our purpose in life is anymore, where before we did. And a lot of us are still trying to find our purpose as to what we're to do or where we're to go or the reason we're to get out of bed every day or the reason we do anything. Now, purpose sometimes is, or a lot of times, is hard to find. And I trust God to show me what my purpose is. Sometimes I'm hard-headed and I'm maybe not listening or maybe not seeing what my purpose is. And maybe I'm just, like a lot of you, not following what my purpose may be. I get hard-headed, the depression sets in a little bit, and you lose sight of where you're to go and what you're to do. And sometimes we have to just sit back and maybe pray a little harder or look a little more to see what our purpose in life may be. I know it's hard and I know it's difficult because I do it every day, trying to figure out what my purpose in life is or what my purpose to get out of bed is or what it may be. My wife, her purpose is to go take care of elderly people. She's a nurse. She's good at it. She's dang good at it. And that's her purpose, is to do that every day. And she loves it. She enjoys it. And that's her purpose. My son, he takes care, he does carpentry work and takes care of his family. That's his purpose. That's why he gets up every day. My daughter, she's a teacher. She loves it. And that's her purpose, is to teach children. She's a special education teacher, and she loves that more than anything. And that's why she gets up every day, is because she enjoys doing that. A lot of us, whether you've had an SCA or not, some of us are just lost. You know, some people are homeless and don't know what their purpose in life is. They got lost. You know, a lot of us do get lost. A lot of us with the mental problems, the physical problems, it's hard for us to find our purpose in life, to find our purpose to get up every morning and to get up and do something every day. It gets difficult sometimes to figure out what our purpose is, or where we're to go, or who we're to help, or who we're to talk to. You know? And that's the reason a lot of times I post these little videos. Sometimes I quote Bible quotes and talk about faith or love or hope or whatever it may be for that day. And I know they help people. I know I post them to help people. And maybe that's my purpose now in life, is to help people one way or another. You know, to get someone through a day that they're having trouble getting through. And maybe that's what I'm here to do. I don't know. And I pray every day that whenever I post a video, that whoever sees it or whoever's watching it, they get something from it, and it helps them that day. It helps them get through that day or the next day or that week. They find something that helps them get through. And maybe that's what my purpose is since my SCA. You know, I have the brain injury. I have the nerve damage. I have the shakes. I have a lot of problems that, I can't go get a job. I can't work. I can't go out there and stand on my feet for 8-10 hours a day. I can't, build houses like I used. I can't remodel things like I used to. And I'm not making excuses for myself. It just, when you lose your purpose in life, it's hard to find another purpose to get up every day and do something. It's when you know that you've got these problems and you can't get out there and help. And sometimes for a lot of us, we feel less as an individual because we can't do what we used to do. And it's difficult for us. And I know, and whoever's watching knows it's difficult. But we can get through it. I mean, God will help us figure it out one way or another. If, we're not as hard-headed sometimes, and we actually open our eyes and start looking and start listening to what we need to, then maybe we'll find that purpose again. Whether you had an SCA or you have physical problems or mental problems or you're homeless or anything, it doesn't matter what your situation is. It doesn't make any difference. But we have to listen. Sometimes it's someone else talking to us that we figure out what our purpose is. And sometimes it's a dream, if you can remember. Or sometimes it's a spouse or a loved one, son, daughter, brother, sister, whatever it may be talking to us that is trying to show us what our purpose in life is. And a lot of times we just don't listen because we're so hard-headed and we give up and we quit trying because we find there's no reason to, and we get into a depression, and then we try and figure out how to get out of that depression. And it's hard sometimes for a lot of us. But it's there. Like God tells us in the Bible. When one door shuts, another door opens. A lot of times we don't walk through that door because we don't recognize that door's open. We're trying to figure out how to get back through the door that just shut. I know I did. I still do sometimes. I miss my construction work. I miss going out and talking to people and fixing things that I knew I could fix that I can't do anymore. I miss that a lot of times. I know I can't do it. I can't remember. Long-term memory, pretty well shot. Short-term memory, hell, I can't even tell you what I had for supper last night. Short-term memory is pretty much nothing And, you know, it's hard to live with that every day, day in and day out, with the mental problems, the physical problems, you know, and it's difficult for a lot of us to get through those days. And I know that. I'm one of them. I know there's a lot of days it's hard for me to, you know, I get out of bed and I go, why did I even get out of bed today? You know, what's the reason I got out of bed today? You know, and we lose touch. And a lot of times that's a problem, is that we do lose touch. We lose touch with family. We lose touch with God. We lose touch with ourselves even. You know, we sit, and sometimes some of us will actually even feel sorry for ourselves. And it's not our fault a lot of times. I mean, when I had my SCA, no one knows why I had. Not even doctors know why I had my SCA. You know, none of them. No, not one doctor I've ever talked to or that I've seen knows why I had my SCA. Even after I went to a new heart doctor, he sat and went through my whole medical file, tried to figure out why I had my SCA, and he couldn't come up with anything as to why I had it. You know, I know my wife does the best she can every day. She tries to fix me, and she can't. She tries really hard sometimes to fix me, and she can't. She tried for the first 2 years after my SCA to get me back where I was before I had my SCA. And she finally figured out that doesn't work. That she had to accept me for who I was now and try and help me get to the next day. And then the next day, and then the next day. And she does the very best that she can to try and get me from day to day to day, and week to week to week. And sometimes it's frustrating for her because she doesn't know what to do. And there's nothing she really can do to help me, you know, except just be there for me and listen when I got something to say, or, you know, and that's all she can do. And it's hard for her sometimes, and I know that, and she knows that, and it gets frustrating for her sometimes. But we'll all get through it. One way or the other, we will all get through our difficulties and find that new purpose that we have in life. Find that new direction that we're to go. You know, sometimes I think that God wants me to post these videos for people to help them find that new direction they need to go. And maybe my new direction is talking to you people, you know, or talking to the individual that's listening to this or watching this. Maybe that individual goes, that's the guy I need to listen to. That's the guy that's helping me get to the next day. And that's great. You know, that's wonderful if that's what I can do for you. You know, these little videos, they help me get through the next day or the next week or whatever it may be. Sometimes I'll go back and I'll rewatch myself on a video that I've posted, and that gets me through that day, or it gets me through that week, because I listened to what I had to say, you know. And that's what I'm hoping I'm doing, is I'm helping someone or some people find their purpose in life and just keep trying. Don't give up. You know, I know the depression comes in and you just want to give up, but don't do it, because there's nothing if you give up. You know, you can't get nowhere if you give up. You just gotta keep fighting. No matter what the problem is, you gotta keep fighting when you get out of bed, you just gotta keep fighting that day to get through that day, and then get to the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and eventually the days start getting better. Even I have my good days, and I have my bad days. And sometimes I have my really good days, and sometimes I have my really bad days. But I get through them, and I keep going. And I wonder why sometimes, and I ask God why sometimes, and I know He listens to me. And maybe I don't get the answers I think I should be getting, or maybe I don't get the signs or the person or whatever it may be. I don't get that that I think I should be getting. But just because it's not what I think I should be getting doesn't mean that it's not right. And it's not where I'm supposed to go. And it's not what I'm supposed to do. It is. And I just get hard-headed sometimes, like a lot of you, and just don't listen. I don't listen to people around me, or I don't listen to my wife sometimes, or I don't listen to what's going on, or nothing. I just block everything out and just go into depression, and then I got to get myself back out of that depression. And it's hard. Sometimes it's really hard to get myself back out. But I do it. And I get up the next day, and I keep on going. And that's what you got to do. You just got to get up and keep going and find that purpose. You got to find that reason to get out of bed every day. And I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. Because I'm right there with you. But together we can do it. Until next time, God bless. And I'll talk to you again soon.